Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so thrilled that you're in this space with me again. As you can tell by the title of today's video, I have a guest on the channel. I'm so excited. And I'm really looking forward to having a few more guests to feature on my channel slash podcast because everything is just here. So today's interview is with Dr. Yemi, who is a medicinal chemist by training, but now he's a full-time online bodybuilding prep coach. I was so intrigued by Yemi's journey, by his principles, by how he coaches, his work ethic. I mean, I just took one look at his Instagram and I could see that this is somebody who is serious about his business, about what he does, about how he trains, about his clients, and I really admire that. And as a natural bodybuilder myself, I'm so intrigued to pick his brain and to learn more a little bit about how he thinks natural bodybuilding compares to taking some sort of performance enhancing drugs. Now, this is one of those conversations that it's kind of hush hush. People don't really like to talk about it, and that's exactly why I want to talk about it because it's an obvious thing and it's not something we can ignore, especially in the bodybuilding sport. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear Yemi's viewpoint on this and see what you can learn from somebody who's a seasoned pro in the profession. So as a natural bodybuilder, Yemi has earned first place at the WNBF Ireland in 2023. This is such a great accomplishment. And he went back in 2024 and he won again, which is really cool to see that somebody with a natural physique can really push themselves and take themselves to a place where, you probably thought you couldn't go without the support of something. Outside of coaching and science, Yemi is really passionate about his family. He's a new dad, and that really fuels a lot of his drive and his focus. So, guys, without further ado, let us dive in. I'm gonna hush on up and let y'all get into the interview. Oh, and I have one request just before I let you dive into the interview, and that is to please take a moment to leave a comment, leave a like, and let us know how this interview was received on your end. Did you learn something? Are you curious? Do you have some questions? Whatever it is, we welcome it. We want to have a discussion and we definitely want to connect with more of you out there. Without further ado, let's enjoy the interview.
Maybe I'm selfish. I want you to myself, I can't help it.
My name is Yemi Rahman. I commonly forget the doctor. I am by trade a medicinal chemist, so I grew up loving science. So naturally, I went into my undergraduate degree doing science. From there, I went straight into a PhD, where I worked with Professor Isabel Rosaz. She's in the area of infectious diseases. So I'm a medicinal chemist as a trade. So I went in to start a project on the design, discovery, and development of antiparasitic agents targeting Mycobacterium tuberculosis, malaria, all those diseases that kind of plague developing countries.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm from a developing country, so I had a huge passion for it, and it kind of hit home. So I was combining my passion to drive change with my passion for science. So I loved it. So spent 4 years, got my doctorate, and then I went to work with a large pharmaceutical company. And at the time as well, there was a pandemic going on, so I was involved in, the design and discovery process for agents against COVID. So it was a really interesting project and a project that I worked on for a long period of time. It did get to a stage where I was more within the corporate side of science. And, it almost removed myself from the research aspect of things, which I loved. I loved learning about the small scale experiments and designing small scale experiments to figure out and discover a new drug. Whereas when I went to work with a pharmaceutical company, it was all about more of the production side of things, how best we can produce this drug and how we can produce it in a large scale to kind of deliver it to all parts of the world. And I kind of lost a little bit of love for it. So I was
Mm,
kind of hemming and hawing, do I continue on in this is path and work my way up to senior scientist? Because I was very, very close to being promoted to senior scientist before I left. So I had to make a decision, do I continue this on or do I, follow my other passion, which is fitness, bodybuilding. Um, and going to how I actually went into fitness and bodybuilding. While I was getting my PhD, I was also into fitness. I grew up playing sports,
mm,
so I kind of wanted to go into that and do it on the side. So I got my personal training license, and then in 2016 or 17, I can't remember, so long ago. I think it was 2017. I did my first ever competition, because I just loved how the body developed and the lengths that you can take it to.
mm.
So I did my first competition as a junior. Didn't do so well. Came dead last, right? And you would think that that would discourage me, but I realized at the time I just loved the process of bodybuilding. I love bodybuilding, and I knew, I just stuck this through. I continued to train. I continued to get better. I became more educated. I would do well. So I think 5, 6 years later, I did my first competition season, I would say. So I did multiple shows in
Mm,
2023 with the WMBF. So WMBF is a natural federation. I'm sure you know yourself.
mm.
Uh, and yeah, I did really well. I placed first in the men's physique tall category. I did not think I would place at all after, not winning at all or not even placing in the past. So yeah, as soon as I finished that season, I got the bug for bodybuilding, specifically natural bodybuilding. So I decided to pursue that further, and that was at the point where I was trying to decide: do I stay in this pharmaceutical job or do I, pursue bodybuilding and coaching? So I just took the leap. I decided to start coaching, and really dive deep into bodybuilding, being a bodybuilder as well as a bodybuilding coach and coaching other people to stage. And, I haven't looked back since. Saying that now, though, yeah, science is still a huge passion of mine. I still see myself going back into it to some extent,
Yeah.
but to an extent where I can do both, and I'm happy with the extent of which extent of how I'm doing both things.
Mm.
So there's a lot more, but I don't want to continue rambling on. I'm sure you have more questions. Um, yeah, that's an overview of my journey so far.
No, that's really, really cool because I think the your background in science really plays such an interesting role in how you view the physique. I feel like you almost see it like on a physiological level even more than like the general like fitness trader would, in
Yeah.
terms of what you're putting in and how the body's performing and how it's recovering. I just want to pick your mind on that a little bit. Like, how has that translated, if at all, your background in science into what you're doing, like
It's
nutrition?
played it's played a huge part. Because when I first started coaching, I started coaching more of like more lifestyle clients, and then I gradually transitioned to
Mm,
coaching natural bodybuilders to the stage. And when I first started coaching, I was really good at it because I understood the physiology of it, and it kind of gave me a little bit more context to what they teach you when you're getting your personal training license.
yeah,
It's personal training is very easy. I want to say a
yeah,
very easy thing to get into because you don't have to spend a long period of time getting your certificate, right? But the coaches that do really, really well are those that educate themselves further than that. But
beyond
I
that.
already had kind of like a background in physiology, I had a background in science and how the body works. So it kind of gave me that little bit of advantage. But as I was coaching lifestyle clients, I kind of wanted to take it a little bit further because like I'm very much I just want to see how far things go. Um and when lifestyle clients it's more about how they feel, their lifestyle factors, and there's a start and end goal, but that end goal isn't stepping on stage. It isn't to achieve an
Yeah.
elite level position. So I eventually transitioned, and I just learned to love it because the science as well as what I'm seeing here was almost
Mm,
like an experiment. I just plug in
mm,
the numbers and it works. And yeah, it's like, and especially. coaching natural bodybuilders as well, we don't have as many tools to play with. As
Mm,
opposed to like the assisted side of bodybuilding, they have P.D.s, there's certain
yeah.
genetics they can use. So you kind of have to be very smart about your approach when it comes to natural bodybuilding, and what tools you can use, and how do you manipulate your physiology to get to that stage condition without um, you know, reducing muscle mass, or making sure that health is still in a good place as you peak into a show. And the science part of things has actually helped me take care of my athletes a lot better.
Mm,
Um, because back in the day, I don't think the method of natural bodybuilding was as good. I think we started to copy things that the assisted route has done, but it doesn't necessarily translate well to natural bodybuilders, and it can lead to severe health complication.
mm,
I'm sure you've heard about relative energy deficiency. When natural bodybuilders push themselves to an extent in a short period of time,
mm, mm.
the symptoms of reds, they become heightened, and it can actually lead to very, very serious problems, not only within your body but your mind. You've heard so many people doing competitions and absolutely hating bodybuilding because it's led them um
Yeah.
to hate food, to
Hate
have a bad
food.
relationship with food, and all of these things. And it doesn't need to be like that, but if you take a look at the science and what is the best approach to do things, it can actually make the process a lot more streamlined, a lot easier, and it can lead to a better end result. So yeah, it's a long-winded way of me saying that if you
Wow.
just look at the science, and if you look at the physiology, and if you just look at, what is the best way to approach things instead of copying the assisted route, it can be a great sport to be a part of.
Hmm. I really love that. I love that so much because when I decided to bodybuild, I had already been on a journey of like taking myself off of um, hormonal birth control and really getting a hold of my cycle in a natural way and getting to know my body because for so long, and so many women are still on like just living with a fake period, if for lack of a better way to put it. And it's just so manufactured, and it's just there's a better way to do it, and a way that supports your health in the long term, your
Yeah,
fertility, if you have a desire to explore that, like just taking care of yourself so that you can genuinely enjoy good health in the long term. So
yeah,
going natural or doing this competition naturally was something that I was like, I really want to see that through. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm like going back and forth. I'm like, will I regret it if I don't? Because there's like that edge. Is there something I'm missing out on? I've gone back and forth so much. One of my closest friends is a doctor. Now I've been consulting with her with the different products that are out on the market and which one could be like an option for me if I want to. Like I'm really sitting on the fence when it comes to the decision when it comes down to it. And my competition is in September. So I'm telling myself I'm just gonna let it be and see how far I can get because I also feel like genetics are on. We can't not talk about genetics when it comes to natural bodybuilding, and I think my genetics are on my side. So I just need to buckle down with my food and my training, and I will see a physique that I'm really proud of and proud to represent in a natural way. Oh,
definitely.
that's a tangent.
I would agree with you on that as well, and I
Yeah.
think you're going around it about it in the right way, because it's not that I'm against assisted bodybuilding or against PEDs. Like, that's their decision. Like, if you want to do that, of course, go ahead and do it. I don't look down on people who take PEDs. It's just that you'd want to do it with enough information, and you'd want to do it naturally first, just to know, do you actually like competing? Do you like bodybuilding? It would be unfortunate for you to go through your first ever prep on PEDs and leading to potential health complications, and then you realizing that you actually don't like prep, you don't like
Mm,
bodybuilding that much, and then
mm,
having to come off it
mm,
with maybe some side effects that aren't beneficial towards your period, towards your mental, towards your endocrine system, towards your immune system, like all these complications that can arise. For me, it's just not worth it to do your first ever competition. So you kind of just
mm.
need to do your first season natural, see whether you like the process or not, and then
Yeah.
make that and then make that decision based on the right information,
Yeah.
talking to your friends, talking to your family, talking to your doctor.
Yeah.
Um, there's right ways to go about doing it. Yeah.
That's a really interesting way to take it, but I think because I only want to do this once, and my coach, I did go and get a coach who's helping me along with the training and the nutrition, and he has a similar journey. His very first competition, he was completely natural, and he was like no, and then after that he was like no, like I need that help, and so he, but like it's yeah, I guess it's better to have an informed way, but because I'm so hell bent on just doing this once, I'm just like one and done. But I keep hearing that you can't. It's like a tattoo. You'll come back for another one.
Yeah, I bet you after your first competition, if you enjoy the process, you'll probably want to do it again. I had the same thought as well. My first ever competition, I was just like, I kind of want to challenge myself, and the reason why I did start to bodybuild was based on the fact that I was previously into sport, and I
Mm.
stopped playing football, so I needed something to challenge myself, right? And I needed some different outlook as opposed to like me studying 24/7 for my PhD. So I found bodybuilding, and it hooked onto me, and I just continued to bodybuild since, and I think I'll just continue to bodybuild until I can't anymore because I just love the process so much.
Mm. Love
Yeah.
it. So what does natural bodybuilding mean to you personally, and what are some common misconceptions that people might have about being a natural bodybuilder?
Natural bodybuilding it teaches you so much. It's taught me so much, and the reason why I continue to natural bodybuild is not because of the accolades I want to get, but I see the person I become every single time I do a prep.
Mm.
My first ever prep, I learned that I can push through, and there's nothing that can stop me, and I'm very resilient. The next prep I did, it taught me that you know I I am more than just a bodybuilder, if you get what I mean. I'm more than just what I do. I'm Yemi. I'm a kind person. I'm confident. I'm all these things. And my most recent prep, it's taught me I should listen to my gut, right? For all different reasons, right? Just the things that happen during those preps, and
Yeah.
every single I just seem to learn something about myself, and I become a better person, and that is truly why I love bodybuilding and why I love coaching bodybuilders, because I can see them becoming better versions of themselves every single year as they step on stage and go through preps.
Mm.
Um, and the whole delayed gratification thing as well that comes with natural bodybuilding, it teaches you to be patient.
Mm.
Um, and it it just lets you know that the sky is the limit. Like there's no limitations. I went to the World Championships in 2023, the WMBF World Championships, and to see the level of physiques that were on that stage, I was just like, wow, like there is no limit to what natural
Mm.
bodybuilding. Um, I know the chance of a natural bodybuilder getting to the height of bodybuilding when it comes to the Olympia,
Olympias.
very very slim. But if we go to the natural Olympia, if we go to the World Championships, the height people can get to is absolutely amazing. And it's something that
Mm.
I inspire to do, knowing that I could be potentially one of the best within this craft, within natural bodybuilding, is what keeps me going. So yeah, that's kind of what it means to me.
Oh, I love that. Mm. I almost got emotional as you were talking because I started this journey too because I was like struggling a little bit with like some habits that I just know are just not serving me. One of them being like drinking. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, yeah.
Not really managing my time well, not being disciplined. And I was just like, I feel like this journey is the one that's going to whip me into shape because I'm going to see what I'm putting in and what I'm getting out. It's like you see it right away and you're like, well, am I going to give this up in order to see the results that I actually like? It just completely shifted so much for me. Um, Taught lots of that daily grind, that showing up the meals, that repetitiveness of just the doing what you just gotta do. Like it's just, I don't know, it is a different kind of resilience and like confidence and like inner trust that it builds because you're walking that journey alone. Like most of the time, yes, you have support of people and stuff, but you're the one curling those biceps and like putting in those reps. Like it's you. So yeah, it's such a beautiful thing to see that that's still such a huge essence of the sport. I love that. I love that so much. What are some common misconceptions people might have about natural bodybuilding? Like you don't have the edge, you're missing out.
I I feel like a lot of people think that I don't know, it's almost like it's a waste of time. I think
Mm,
a lot of people within the bodybuilding scene, maybe not a lot of people think like looking in from the outside, but a lot of people within the bodybuilding scene see it as almost like a waste of time. Why would you not take enhancements and see where you can get to? But I feel like those are the people that don't really love the process of bodybuilding. I think those are the
mm,
people who maybe just like the accolades and just stepping on stage. Stepping on stage is just a small part of bodybuilding. And I feel like people who are natural bodybuilders, a lot of those people stay bodybuilding because they just love the process.
yeah.
Um, that would maybe be one of the things. There's obviously a lot of people that think a lot of natural guys out there that are actually taking enhancements and not telling people like fake natties. I get accused a lot, just based on the progress I make on a year to year basis that
I
I
can
am
imagine.
something. But I think a lot of people just don't believe that you're capable of achieving this physique naturally when in reality you can, just with the right
Yeah.
method and the way you do things on your work ethic.
Your work ethic and your why. Like, why are you doing this? Because it really comes down to, like you say, that loving the process. Like,
Yeah.
there is something that you are constantly refining in the repetitiveness of the meals and of the reps and of you're refining something. And if you're not there for that thing that's so intangible, like, then I don't know. Yeah.
It's funny, like I just see bodybuilding as something that's it's almost like spiritual. It's almost
So,
there's a huge amount of self-development from it. Like even if you take a look at the start of bodybuilding, during these contest preps, like during these contests, sorry, they judged your character, they judged your personality as well
mm,
as your physique on stage, and it just fits because like as you compete and as you develop your physique every single year, it changes you. It changes your mindset, and that is the true value of bodybuilding.
mm. Ooh,
Mm,
wow.
yeah.
You're preaching. Doctor, you're preaching. So I asked specifically, really, one of my followers on Instagram, who is a good friend of mine. He's a dude, and he trains, and he's just trains for lifestyle. But I knew he would
Yeah,
be so interested to like ask you some questions,
yeah.
and he had specifically three that I want to just throw in here. So they touch a little bit on training. So what are some key training principles that you focus on in order to maximize growth without relying on those performance enhancing drugs?
Yeah, so there's a couple that come to mind. I think the king of everything is intensity, right? The intensity at which you're training and prioritizing quality over quantity. So you need to figure out like what level of volume can you do and recover from and consistently do on a tri-monthly basis. And then you need to take a look at your training intensity. You know, how hard are you actually working in the gym? I think having a coach for me has made me realize the extent of which I have to train at, like, how hard I should train. And once I grasped that knowledge, I just became better and better at working hard and pushing myself to failure. It's funny, like I get a lot of beginners come to me and coach with me, and they just don't know how to train hard. And that almost sounds silly.
Yeah.
Like, of course, people should know how to push themselves, but they don't know what training to failure is. They don't know what it feels like, and they don't know the standard at which they have to be training at in the gym. And that just takes skill. That just takes time over years of just training and learning your body. So number one is definitely training intensity. Number two would be, especially for natural athletes, is is periodization. So making
Mm.
sure that you have training blocks and you're
Blocks.
just not going into an off season and just training throughout the off
Mm.
season, right? They will get you know you'll get to a point where recovery will start to drop. You'll get to a point where numbers will start to plateau. So that's a chance for you to deload and then go into the next training block with more information of, how well did that training block go? Did your numbers increase on a week to week basis? How did you feel like your recovery was? Are you seeing physical changes within your body? If you had a certain level of volume for shoulders, for example, in the first training block, you need to revisit that for the next mesocycle to maybe increase your volume or drop your volume. So periodization is definitely
Mm.
another thing. Um, and then the last thing would be to structure structure your roadmap appropriately. So, for a lifestyle client, that roadmap
Yeah.
doesn't need to be so complex. But in
Mm.
the context of, for example, of a contest prep, for example, your stage weight last year was 70 kilos, right?
Mm.
And as a natural athlete, you're not going to vary much from that, right? So in your off season, you know, you want to go into that off season knowing that you're going to put on muscle, but it shouldn't be excessive. You shouldn't bulk like 30, 40 kilos above your stage
Mm.
weight.
Mm.
Do it moderately, and then you're starting your contest prep in a reasonable position where you can spend 18 to 20 weeks slowly chipping away at body
Yeah.
fat and really preserving that muscle mass. So you step on stage, you might be 70 kilos again, but you might look more developed. You might
Mm.
have a little bit more maturity within your muscle and you'll look leaner, you'll look bigger, or it
Mm.
might be 1 to 2 kilos up from your previous stage weight. So being a little bit smart about your approach. So yeah, those are the three things that I would say are really important.
Awesome. Wow. I really do want to see how it could apply to a lifestyle client who is working to, yes, see changes in their bodies, but not, it's not so massive. They just want to be able to say, hey, listen, I've been grinding in the gym, and in December I can take my shirt off confidently, like,
Yeah,
and
it's
look
for a
good.
lifestyle client. I would say definitely if you're not so well educated on physique development, get a coach. That's the best thing you could ever do.
Oh.
Have definitely have like have a roadmap of some sort. So know how much muscle you want to gain. What's
Mm.
reasonable for you. Structure deloads when you need to, like some people, for example, in the context of a fat loss phase, if they're looking to get shredded for summer, for example, they'll try and lose the 20 kilos all in one stint, when in reality, that's not going to go well, right? So you probably want to do it in, 10-week blocks where you be in a deficit for 10 weeks and then take a 2-week diet break and then finish off the rest of your fat loss.
Mm.
Um, and then just not rushing the process, giving yourself enough time, because in the midst of you getting in shape, you don't want the rest of your lifestyle to be compromised. You still want to have time for your friends and family. You still want to enjoy good food now and again. You still want to be in good health. So you shouldn't really sacrifice those things, but just give
Mm-hmm.
yourself enough.
Mm-hmm. Snap,
Yeah.
snaps. How
Yeah.
do you tailor your nutrition plans for your clients during bulking seasons, during cutting seasons? What are some of maybe one or two key things that you focus on for bulking, for cutting? Are these terms you even use?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
they are. So in the context of a bulk, both of those things depend on the client, right? So I have some clients where they need a structured meal plan. They cannot like I cannot just tell them to eat a certain amount of calories because the quality of those calories won't be great.
Yeah.
And some clients like that little bit of freedom as well, so macros might suit them better. So kind of know what approach nutrition wise you works well for you. Um, and then you'd have to look at the rate of gain as well for a bulk. And the rate of gain depends on that person's current standpoint and their level, right? In terms of their training level, as well as how many years have they been consistently in the gym, training, structuring their routine and nutrition. because a more advanced athlete can get away with higher rate of gain at the start of a gaining phase. Because you know the quality of tissue that they're going to be putting on is going to be good quality tissue because they can train hard in the gym and their ability to stick to their nutrition will be a lot better than someone who's a beginner.
Mm.
As opposed to like a beginner lifestyle client looking to gain muscle mass, I'd maybe tighten up the rate of gain a little bit and just keep a close eye on physique, because we also have to look at the pictures. What are we seeing physique wise,
Yeah.
not just the number. And then in terms of a diet phase, some key considerations would be, again, rate of loss. You want to make
Mm.
sure that your rate of loss is appropriate to the current standpoint of that client. So for an example, if a client is 30-40% body fat, say a male 30-40% body fat, it's okay to lose at a slightly higher rate at the start of a fat loss phase, say maybe 2%, 1 to 2% body weight per week.
Mm.
But for example, if someone is starting a cut at maybe 18% body fat, you probably don't need to start that high
Mm.
just to preserve muscle mass.
Mm.
But those are the things that kind of stand out to me. There's so many
Mm.
nuances, so many
Mhm.
considerations that you have to take when going into a diet phase or a bulking phase. But those are the two big things.
Like food is everything, hey? That took me a
Yeah.
long time to learn that. Like for so many years, I was like, I work out, I'm good, I can eat whatever I want, like, yeah. And because I have a metabolism that burns through food so quickly, I would always have a decent, like a pretty low body fat. So I'd be like, I'm getting away with it. But was I ever building or maintaining muscle, quality muscle? No, absolutely
Yeah.
not. And it was keeping me stuck for so many years
Yeah.
until I got my coach. And then I just cleaned everything up, started doing what I knew I needed to be doing. And now I'm seeing results at a rate that I'm also like, whoa. But it's also, like you say, it's because of the past, all the years leading up to this. Like my
Yeah.
body's responding so well to the training and to the nutrition and everything. Quick question
Yeah.
before we move on. Does this mean you also don't use supplements?
Yeah, no, I use supplements, yeah. So the main supplements I would use are just simple things like your multivitamin, your fish oils, omega,
Mm.
creatine monohydrate, whey
Mm-hmm.
protein powder.
Mm-hmm.
I just make sure that supplements that I order and I use are WADA approved. So you'd
Mm.
have to have a look at the ingredients at the back of the supplements that
Uh,
you're buying and just make sure that it doesn't have anything that's on the prohibited list, because
oh
that can
wow.
very happen. And I've heard of natural competitors just not knowing that there's a certain ingredient in a supplement that they're using, and then when they do a urine test, it comes up and then they get banned. So you kind of just
Yeah.
have to be careful about what supplements you do use. But yeah, there's definitely some healthy supplements out there that I would encourage everybody to kind of use, like things like creatine monohydrate, depending,
Yeah.
like no matter if you're a lifestyle client or a contest prep client, that's one I would highly recommend. Of course, your multivitamins, your omegas, they're all very vital for normal homeostasis.
Mm. Love it. Um, what mental, just the last question from Mari, who sent through these questions. What mental or physiological strategies do you use to keep your athletes motivated and disciplined through their prep?
Oh, this is a really good one. And if if you haven't been a coach for a long period of time, you'll struggle with this one. I struggled with this one at the start. How do I keep my athletes, eye on the ball and focused? It all depends on the athletes, right? So I kind of need to know the person, and this is why I have regular chats with my athletes just to get to know their mindset and how they operate. Like, there's one type of athlete that I could tell them they're doing great every single week. You're smashing it. Like, this is looking
Mm.
good. You're gonna do really, really well on stage, and then they get complacent, right? And then there's other athletes that need that encouragement, that need
Mm.
that push every single week, and that works for them. So you kind of just need to know the athlete, and I just tailor my approach according to how I see them being. Um, the main thing across both types of people would be their reason why. All right, so
Yeah.
we'd have to think about, what is the reason? Like, why did you come to me? Why do you want to step on stage? What does it mean to you? And sometimes that means me being vulnerable and open to them as to like why I started, right? And it encourages them to be open with me as well. And
Mm,
you know, we can really, it sounds bad, but pulling on that pain point as well, like when they are struggling,
mm.
just reverting back to the reason why they started this and why it's actually important to them.
Yeah, yeah. It's so easy to lose sight of that. I don't know what it is about life where you're just, it's the, I guess the routine of it all. You're just like, why am I even here? Some days I'm in the gym and I'm just like staring off into blank space, like,
No,
what did
you
I
get
get
like
myself
this.
into?
Yeah. You asked me a second question as well. What was the second question?
That was it, I believe.
Oh, that was it. Okay, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you keep them motivated and disciplined? What has been your biggest mental or emotional challenge that you've overcome, if you are open to sharing? And how did you overcome it?
The I think the first there've been kind of mental challenges all the way through that I've learned so much from, but my first ever competition is I started bodybuilding because I kind of wanted to prove to myself that almost like I wasn't a quitter, right? I
Mm.
started I finished my footballing career when I was literally about to go professional,
What kind of
and that was the
football?
point.
Not American football.
Soccer, soccer. Soccer, yeah, we say football here in Ireland, and it's we mean soccer.
Got you.
So I was literally about to go professional here in the Irish
Wow.
League, and I struggled a lot with my own confidence, and I struggled a lot with some family issues that were going on at the time, and I was highly
Mm,
pressured with school. I wanted to do really, really well because
mm,
I saw school as something that if I did really, really well, I'd be able to get out of my personal situation with my family, and I kind of just wanted to escape.
mm,
So I picked school because that was the thing that was going to make me feel a lot better. So I kind of neglected something that was my outlet and something I thought I was good enough to be professional in. So I quit that. So that quitting kind of got to me a lot.
mm.
And then that is when I decided I want to challenge myself. I want to prove to myself that I'm not a quitter, and that's why I decided to actually do that
Wow.
competition. So when I did do that competition and everything was over, I got to the end point. I produced an amazing physique. You know, I still wasn't happy. I still wasn't content. And that kind of taught me that, you know, the decisions I make doesn't define who I am. I'm not a quitter. Like I
Mm.
can get through things in life. So that was the first thing that I learned how to do the first competition. The second thing after the next competition was that you know, at the time I was being coached by someone who was an amazing coach, right? He was an amazing coach. He taught me the love of men's physique, and he taught me how to pose, and he taught me all these things. But there are certain things that kind of happened towards the back end of that prep and back end of that competition where I feel like I should have trusted my gut.
Mhm.
Um, so through that process, I learned to trust myself and not to let things happen when I know I should have taken action. So, yeah, that's
Oof.
kind of taught me that process as well. Like, I don't, I hate to speak bad on coaches, and I hate to speak back on that experience. He was an amazing coach, right? It was an amazing journey, but um, I think there was a fault in that in myself that I just didn't trust my own gut. If you get what I mean.
I think
So,
what you're saying is very valid, especially when you're so new to something. I think I'm catching myself having the same thoughts because I'm somebody who's so naturally trusting. My parents have grown up calling me naive. They're like, girl, you could trust anybody down the road and you just like end up anywhere. So it's been
yeah,
ingrained in me a little bit, and it's something that I've struggled to claim. And recently I was like, yeah, you know what? I trust people. Like, that's just me. I trust life. I'm not going to always assume that somebody's out to get me. Like, that's not how I want to live my life. But
yeah,
in the
yeah,
same sense, there was a lack of trust with self because I was just so whoo with everyone else. But I realized that actually I didn't even have that within myself. And
yeah.
now I'm like, that's something I'm refining as well. That yes, within this journey, yes, you have a coach, yes, you have somebody working with you, and but certain decisions or certain things or like that comes down to you, and you have to listen to yourself and trust that you also like have got you. Like you can't just hand yourself over like to somebody like that so much. Even
Exactly.
with like our clients working with us, I feel like there has to be that certain level of self accountability in whatever you're doing, and you're like, listen, like this is still mine, this is my journey,
Yeah.
it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's what I say to my athletes as well. Like I'm in your journey. Like this is not me taking control of you. Like as much feedback as possible. I'm very open to hearing. And if athletes don't agree with, for example, a pushing calories or a dropping calories, like let's talk about it.
Mm,
Let's figure out what is best for you to do. And I think that's what a good coaching and client relationship should be. It should be a partnership, not like a dictatorship where like
mm,
I tell you to do something and you just follow it without understanding why you need to do it.
mm,
Yeah,
mm. Snaps for that. That's for all our future up and coming coaches. Like,
yeah,
actually, it's a partnership. It's we're working
yeah,
together. So my
yeah.
last question for you before I let you go is for anyone who's considering stepping on the stage, either natural or not natural. What are some key things that you believe that they need in order to truly thrive, excel in their pursuit? And also maybe to make, before they even get there, what are some key things they need to consider before they even decide to compete? So
Yeah, I
before you
think
decide,
yes, but before you decide, I think would be to reach out to someone who's done it and maybe just reach out
mm,
to a coach and for them to tell you like how is this going to affect your actual lifestyle, how may it affect your relationships, how may it affect your health on both ends of things in regards to natural or assisted. There are some health complications. It is an extreme sport, so you need to be aware of what you're getting yourself into because a lot of people are not aware of what they're getting themselves into. The second thing would be financial. Like know how much money you are going to be giving to bodybuilding because it's one that is very expensive, from the food to the coaching to the contest prep gear to the not gear as in steroids, but the the outfits you're gonna wear, the post show celebrations, the trips, the travel, all of that have to be
yeah.
considered before you get into it. And as you get into it as well, the thing that you have to be aware of is, is your roadmap laid out for you to succeed? Is are you getting into, for example, a contest prep in good body composition in the right spot physique wise to be competitive on stage? And just also live in the present. You get a
Mm,
lot of clients who are like, I only have 10 weeks left and then I can party, or I only have almost like wishing the time away.
away, yeah.
If you put a lot of emphasis on the end goal, on the trophy you're going to get, on the pro card you're going to get, you're going to be very disappointed with the whole overall process because bodybuilding is not a guaranteed sport. You're not guaranteed to show up on the day and get first place, even though you look phenomenal. There could be a genetic freak who turns up on stage and takes that medal away from you. And if you put all your focus on that, you'll almost leave that prep thinking that you failed and like you didn't achieve anything. Whereas, like, if you put more emphasis on the process, you nailed your nutrition, you didn't cheat on your diet for the whole thing. You saw your body transform every single week, and you became more resilient, more patient,
Mm,
more determined. Even when you step on stage, and if you don't place, at least you leave with all of that. Like when you
mm,
fall in love with the process instead of the end goal, it means so much more to you. So while you're in it, don't wish away the time. Just enjoy it. Enjoy seeing your body develop, seeing yourself grow, and yeah, just stay in the process.
mm. It's
Yeah.
almost like that message was for me.
It will apply to a lot of people doing their first competition because even I was guilty of it. I went in that competition one thing, I'm gonna get that first place, and then it didn't happen. So, it leads to a lot of disappointment, and if you don't have the right head on you, you're just going to
Mm,
probably hate bodybuilding and not compete again because it just didn't work out the way you wanted to.
And when I started thinking, I started last October thinking I would compete in March.
Mm.
Not a long time frame for somebody completely new, but I was like, I'm determined. I've been training before. I've got this. Only for the year to start and to hear that the competition's in September. So now I'm like,
Oh,
like I'm really in this. Like, hey, the time is so
yeah.
long. I'm just like, okay, let me not even. I also do feel that anxiety. I was looking at the calendar of the year and I was like, oh my God, there's just like 4 months left. Like, I'm not even
Yeah.
counting April because what is April? And I'm
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
getting ahead of myself. So thank you so much for sharing that. It is really about that daily grind, and I'm falling more and more in love with it. I'm also just falling more and more in love with the fact that I am doing what I said I would do. Like that confidence thing, that's so, mm,
You're showing them for yourself. You're showing them for
yeah,
yourself.
it's a beautiful thing. Ah, thank you so much for your time, Yemi. Do you have anything else you want to share before I we sign off? Any bits of inspiration? I feel like you're just full of them, by the way, in a good way.
No, I think I said it all. I mean, like if you are any way interested in bodybuilding, I would definitely encourage you to try natural bodybuilding first and just see if you love the process and um just lean into the process. Just let it happen. you know, because you'll get so much more than a physique at the end of your prep. You'll just become a better person. And yeah, if you guys ever need any advice, need any help, feel free to reach out to myself.
Yeah.
This is not a coaching plug. If you just if you are
Please plug
if you're
yourself.
if you're into natural bodybuilding or bodybuilding, and if you want to know a little bit more about the process or figure out the best way to do things according to your current standpoint, feel free to reach out to myself. And lastly, I'd like to thank you for having me on. This has been an amazing conversation, and I look forward to continuing to chat to you and seeing how
Thank you.
your journey unfolds as well.
Thank you so much, Yemi. I'm definitely going to share your Instagram details in the description of this video. So you guys please give him a follow. Like pop into his DM like I did. He responds. He's really a genuine human. So thank you so much for your time. And yeah, let's speak again soon.
Will do. Will do.